What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to my FPL Game Week 2 review and Game Week 3 preview. And, well, as the title suggests, a hell of a lot has happened in the last week. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. Do smash the like button if you do. If you're new here, subscribe. And, well, let's have a look at last weekend's action where, spoilers, it went horribly wrong. And we'll have a look at all the ingoings and outgoing transfers over the last week of FPL, shall we? So anyway, guys, looking at my team here, you can see we set up last game week with a 3-4-3, and well, starting at the back with Tom Heaton, it was disastrous. He gave away a penalty within the opening minutes of Aston Villa's game against Bournemouth. Joshua King scored from the spot. In the end, Bournemouth won that game 2-1, and Heaton grabbed just a singular point. Anyway, looking slightly further ahead, and things did not get better at all. In fact, if anything, they got worse. Joe Gomez, the first of our players who I set to start the game week, got 0 points. He did not play against Southampton. I was pretty surprised about that. Despite the hectic midweek game between Chelsea and Liverpool, I thought he would start. He didn't. And alongside him, well, Trent Alexander-Arnold did not fare much better. Of course, Liverpool beating Southampton 2-1, but crucially losing that clean sheet in the latter stages of the game. And, well, it wasn't that much better for Zinchenko. We always knew it was going to be a tall order for him to keep a clean sheet against Tottenham, even at home. And unfortunately, in a 2-2 draw at the Etihad, he only mustered a single point. Moving up into the midfield, and more disasters followed. Perez had an awful game against Chelsea. Again, was expected to be tricky, but 2 points was a disappointing return. I hope that Barkley on the other side of things could do better, but, well, he didn't make an appearance either. It was even more disastrous than last week in the midfield. Sigurdsson matched his total from last time, I guess. He got 3 points. That was something to celebrate in the grand scheme of things. Fortunately, our remaining two midfielders came to the rescue. Salah, with the captain's armband, got 6 points. If you can call that a rescue attempt, I'll let you decide. And while De Bruyne got a couple of assists, and in the end, he ended up being the top scorer for our team with 11 points, as, of course, they drew 2-2 against Tottenham. In the striking positions, just two double-digit numbers. Kane and Wesley doing okay. They played the 90 minutes. Neither of them scored. Neither of them contributed anything. Obviously, Aston Villa losing 2-1. A little bit unfortunate, perhaps, that Kane didn't get more involved in the play and wasn't, part of the smash and grab that saw Tottenham grab a point at the Etihad. But ultimately, it wasn't great. On the bench, Pope is going to stare there into my soul. He picked up 3 points. Rico on 0 points. He didn't play at all in the Bournemouth game against Aston Villa. And Walker-Peters and Greenwood picked up a point apiece. Due to the automatic subs, we saw Walker-Peters come into the team as well as Greenwood. So we ended up playing a 3-4-3 and our total points was 31, which was not great. I guess the saving grace here was it felt like a lot of people had very poor weeks. The average, in fact, was only 41. So, I mean, that's the let-off there, isn't it? But, well, you can look across that team there. Far too many players not playing minutes. The double Liverpool defence, I don't know how I felt about that after the Adrian kind of error and knowing that Alisson's not going to be back for a few weeks. And some will say I panicked. I think I looked at things on reflection and I decided this week, Game Week 2, to Wildcard. And I know I'm not the only person to do this. And it had to be done. 3 players not starting in Game Week 2 is not good. And whilst I think Barkley and Joe Gomez will be back in the team, not going to be playing reliably, I had itchy fingers and was a bit nervous about Sigurdsson and Perez as well. I know they've got easier games coming up, Everton and Leicester, but just failing to return at all. And with high ownership and perhaps other people transferring them out, I was scared of value drops. And, Wesley and Heaton for Aston Villa. I just don't know if I like what I'm seeing from Villa so far. In the end, it felt like I kind of had to do it. I felt like we were lacking too many City players. And if I didn't make changes early, I might never be able to close down the ground. But, well, should we have a look at the team that I made? You can be the judge of if we made the right call, because I feel like the team is everything. So anyway, let's run through the wildcarded squad. In goal, we've got Pope and Button. £4.5 million for Pope. I'm going to stick faith with him, but I'm not going to be rotating goalkeepers anymore. I've gone with a cheap set and forget. This could cost me points, but I'm hoping longer term, with the money it freed up, we're going to be doing okay. Button is just going to occupy the bench. Nothing particularly special going on there. Moving up into the defence, we do have 2 players remain in our team from our first draft. Zinchenko and Walker-Peters, the 2 players there. Alongside them, though, we have got a Liverpool defender, but it's neither of the two we had previously. I've elected to get in Virgil van Dijk. I feel like he offers a little bit of goal threat. I feel like Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold are more likely to price drop in the coming weeks, which was one of the reasons why I decided not to go for them right now. With Alisson obviously out for at least a couple more weeks, I just feel like the double Liverpool defence was a bullet that I wasn't entirely convinced was one for me to bite, so we've gone without him. Looking at the rest of the defence, the other two players we have are Lundstram and Wan-Bissaka, two players who I know a lot of people have on their watch list. Lundstram, of course, had a fantastic week last week. Looks like he is going to be playing as an out-of-position defender, featuring in the Sheffield United midfield, and at £4 million, even if he plays regularly, that's good enough for me when it comes to points. For the price point, he's really there to be a player who comes in when necessary. Wan-Bissaka on the other side of things, playing for Manchester United. I like the games that they've got coming up. They've got Crystal Palace this game week. Following fixtures, they've got Southampton away, Leicester at home, and also West Ham United away. They're all games that I think could be potential clean sheets. Not something I thought I'd say come the start of the year. A few trickier games on the horizon, but that run of games and also Wan-Bissaka's soaring ownership kind of made me move in for him. In the midfield, I feel like this is where we look the most strong. We've got Mane, Sterling, De Bruyne, Martial and Cantwell. Cantwell has looked very, very good for Norwich. I kind of had my eye on a few Norwich players, but I was deterred by their early kind of tricky fixtures. In the end, I've decided to bite the bullet. They have got Chelsea this week, but given the fact they're at home and given how they've started the season, I feel like they could at least score a few, even if they're not going to be the most solid team defensively. Additionally, Onel Hernandez, the Cuban winger, picked up a knee injury at home, and he's going to be out for between 3 and 6 months. So that is going to almost nail on Cantwell, I feel like, at least for the foreseeable future. Daniel Farke is certainly someone who likes to stick with his players. In the rest of the midfield, Salah downgraded for Mane. Just felt like a move that might need to be made to free up funds elsewhere. The other two midfielders, two Manchester City players. I wanted to get in more City players. So we've kept De Bruyne, and alongside him, we've got in Raheem Sterling. He's been great so far. Obvious captain candidate most game weeks. And, well, the other player that makes up our midfield, Martial, has been playing as a striker so far this year for Manchester United. The only other real challengers for that position are going to be Marcus Rashford and Greenwood. Given Martial's pretty good scoring start to the season, it doesn't look like it's a position he's going to be losing anytime soon. And as a result, I decided to take the plunge on him. Worth noting that when I assembled this team, I did it Sunday night before the Monday games had even happened, with Wolverhampton Wanderers taking on Manchester United. I'm glad I did, because all of these players have shot up in value this week. I guess, much like me, other people perhaps making some knee-jerk reactions, but I feel like ultimately we've come out with a much stronger squad that gives me some flexibility going forward. And well, speaking of going forward, we move into the attack. With Greenwood being a fourth Manchester United player in this team, I couldn't have him, so I've had to swap him out for another £4.5 million option in Connor Wickham. And, well, he won't be featuring, but the other two strikers certainly will. Marcus Rashford comes into the team, and alongside him we've got Teemu Pukki, which I'm going to pronounce correctly because it's not Timu. And, well, between those two, I'm hoping we're going to see goals. As I said, Manchester United got some pretty nice games coming up. Norwich, on the other hand, not got the easiest of games, but Pukki, with 4 goals so far this season, started the season with a goal at Anfield. And I feel like if you're a player who can score at Anfield, you've got a fair chance to score in most games that you play in. And, well, having watched Norwich play this year, looking like a very attacking brand of football, and, well, Pukki seems like the nailed-on and obvious striking option for them, at least at this point in the season. And his ownership has soared, and I believe he's valued now at 6.8 million, which is an absolutely humongous transfer spike price in just 2 game weeks. Anyway, this is how our team is going to line up going into Game Week 3. The only real area where we might change things is in the defence. But in goal, we're going with Pope. As I said, he is now going to be just set and forgotten about, at least for the foreseeable future. One option I did look at was getting in Fabianski as a short-term option for £5 million, with a view to upgrade him to Leno once Arsenal's fixtures get clear and easier, which is not too many weeks away. That's definitely a move that you might want to consider making yourself. In terms of our back four, at least right now, we're going to go with Wan-Bissaka, who has a game against Crystal Palace. We're going to go with Van Dijk, Zinchenko and Walker-Peters to make up the rest of the defence. The only player in our back four playing away from home being Zinchenko against Bournemouth, a team who, whilst they do have some nice attacking threat, I really don't see posing much of a threat to Manchester City, so I'm hopeful of a clean sheet there. Van Dijk, obviously, at home against Arsenal, one that's definitely not, likely, I guess, when you look at things. There's a possibility for sure. The only other thing I'm really thinking about is bringing in Lundstrom. Leicester have looked a little disappointing so far. Knowing my luck, having removed Iosi Perez, he will now go on to score a couple of goals against Sheffield United. But Lundstrom is a player who I am considering bringing in for potentially Van Dijk or Zinchenko. That's going to be a late call that I have to make. But right now, this is the team that I am playing with. Moving up into the midfield where we look very, very strong. We have Mane at home against Arsenal. I anticipate there to be plenty of goals as Liverpool take on Arsenal at Anfield. In the midfield, obviously, De Bruyne and Sterling coming in. I just feel like Bournemouth defensively, they're a team known for going forward, known for scoring a lot of goals, but defensively perhaps not the most resilient. I'm hoping that, Manchester City are going to carve them open with relative ease. As you can see, at least right now, the captain's armband does sit on Raheem Sterling. The last of our midfielders is going to be Anthony Martial, anticipating him to continue his run in the first team as that number 9 for Manchester United. And then, speaking of number 9s, Temu Pukki is going to be taking on Chelsea at home, and alongside him, Marcus Rashford against Palace. Again, I'm hoping that we're going to see a free-flowing, attacking Manchester United side that can see Martial and Rashford grab a few points between them. On the bench, Button's going to be there for the foreseeable future, as is Wickham, keeping things warm. Obviously, Lundstram and Cantwell, the two players who will come in from time to time with our team. But it is a team that is significantly more stacked into the starting 11 than any of my draft teams were during the pre-season. But anyway, guys, that is my team going into Game Week 3. Let me know, did you play your wildcard? I'm going to put a poll in the top right corner of this video. Click the little eye. Let me know. Well, what transfers did you make? Let me know them down in the comments. Definitely a little bit knee-jerky. I know some people are going to say you're jumping on bandwagons, and I certainly am, but I feel like there's a lot of reasons why these players are proving very popular with now what we know of this season so far, particularly the two Norwich players, Pukki and Cantwell. I feel like longer term, they're two players who could really start to grow in value. As I said, Cantwell looks like at £4.6 million now, he could still be a real bargain in terms of players likely to play very, very regularly. The back four looks strong. I feel like Lundstrom, obviously, a little bit of a weak spot there. Sticking with my Walker-Peters punt, I feel like that is the only punt, really, that I could honestly, with my hand across my heart, say has worked out. Of course, with Chelsea taking on Norwich away from home, and also Leicester playing away from home against Sheffield United, there is a chance that transferring out the likes of Perez and obviously Barkley could come back to bite me. Equally, Everton do have some very easy games now, well, all the way through till December. I still wonder if I need to get in a Everton defender of sorts. One player I looked at was Mina, but his price rose recently. We will have to keep a close eye on them. But at least right now, I'm very, very happy with this team. It's stacked going forward. Bold move perhaps to drop Salah, but I think it can work out for us. I'd be very curious to know your thoughts on my team and, your thoughts on the season so far down in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling about things. Do drop a like on this video if you've enjoyed. I'll see you next week where we'll be reviewing this team and we'll see if the wild card was the right call, won't we? But yeah, it's going to be all from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.